Hello, welcome back. My name is Dr. Christopher Gennari, and in this episode, we discuss Japanese Kabuki Theater. Kabuki Theater, the art of singing and dancing. What's interesting in what we are going to talk about is how it changes. Kabuki Theater was sexy, funny. It was a common urban entertainment. It was regular folk stuff. Traditional stories, folk tales. Men and women performed it together and watched it together. So we have Kabuki Theater is singing and dancing on a stage, done by men and women together, watched by men and women together, and done as a ordinary person's, common person's urban entertainment. Industries would grow up around it. The performance was all day. And so people had breaks. So you had a tea shop. You had food shops around the theater, just like you have at baseball parks and football stadiums, right? You have food and drink on the edges of the theater, on the edges of the field, just like you do in Kabuki had the same thing. So you would have this entire industry growing up around this entertainment. Again, it's urban. It's in cities. It's ordinary. Prostitution was also attached to it. Women were actresses. Those women, many of them are going to be sexy. And so wealthy men will be like, hey, I'd like to have an affair with that actress. And so it brought wealthier men to the commoner districts. So through prostitution, Kabuki Theater was bringing the different elite classes, the different economic classes together. Not necessarily for the most equal income equality ideas, but prostitution followed Kabuki Theater as it brought wealthy men to the common districts who watched the performances and were either wanting to have sex with the actresses or having sex with ordinary prostitutes outside of the performances. Since the men came to see the entertainment, the prostitutes showed up to provide more entertainment. As it gained in popularity, it came under rules of regulation and formalization. The most important was it increasingly became all male. The Yaro Kabuki. Which means in the Yaro Kabuki, there's a lot of homoerotic situations because it's all the actors are men. And these, remember, were sexy, funny, urban entertainments. Think any of Shakespeare's comedies. Shakespeare's comedies are founded on sex jokes and fart jokes. Take a look at Falstaff. He's in 3-4 different plays. Falstaff is one giant sex fart joke throughout the entire play. And that was for the ordinary people. Shakespeare wasn't today Shakespeare's all Hamlet and high-minded. But when he was writing, he needed to fill the seats. He had the groundlings. He had an entire open standing room only space that he had to fill. And those people who had to stand were not going to be like, oh, let me listen to a 20-minute monologue, about how bad your life is. No, they wanted entertainment. And so Kabuki Theater is the same way. So the stories don't change. The acting, it's just who was the actors, which now means there's a homoerotic, a homosexual subplot. As men start playing women. So you have a trans subplot, you have a homoerotic subplot. Because even though you say, oh, okay, well, this is a man playing a woman, you still know it's a man saying those words, playing the woman with the heavy makeup. The themes became about war stories. Makes sense. Now there are lots more male actors, right? Women have been kicked out of this. But there's also lover romance suicides, romantic comedies, but also romantic tragedies, Romeo and Juliet. The idea that the two people fall in love who can't be in love, right? The poor guy, it's at Shakespeare in Love, right? The poor playwright and the rich noblewoman, the princess. They can't be in love. There's too many rules that divide them. And so you have the lover, you have romance, and then everything ends badly in suicides. Because they can't be together. Society is keeping them apart. And that's a way of critiquing the rules of society. This is seen in the Suji plot. Suji. Which is the conflict between your desires and your obligations. If you know the Police song, Don't Stand So Close, that is a Suji plot. You have a teacher. You have a student. The student really likes the teacher. The teacher really likes the student. So they have desire, but they have obligations. They cannot be having an affair. That's bad. There are rules against that. Nobody wants that. And so you are in conflict. Romeo and Juliet is a Suji plot, right? They have desire, but they also have obligations to their families, which puts them in conflict. Now, Romeo doesn't care. Romeo's just like, whoa, 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 whatever. But Juliet cares a great deal about her family, about her obligations to her parents. These are also episodic, like a TV series. So they're played out in scenes. So they're episodic. So that's why you have to do it all day. It's Kabuki Theater is kind of the original Netflix for streaming. Like you sit down and you get all 10 episodes in one day. So they're not one story, they're episodes. But by the end, you have gotten an entire story about your characters. So great. So we have sexy, funny, urban entertainment. It's a problem that as time goes on in our period, throughout the 1800s, 1900s, women are kind of kicked out of it. And it's the prostitution. It's the sexual morality that's used against them. They're like, whoa, you can't have women here because bad things happen. Well, the male actors were prostitutes too. Wealthy people showed up, men and women showed up, and they wanted to have sex with the male actors too, But one was acceptable sexuality and one was not acceptable sexuality. And so increasingly it became a formally male genre of acting, of art, which gave it all kinds of sub-themes of trans, of homoeroticism, of homosexuality that were never intended at the beginning. And your major plots are your conflict between what you want and who you are. So how does Kabuki become Kabuki? So this doesn't sound like the Kabuki I've seen. This does not sound like what people think of when they say Kabuki. Well, the problem is white people. The problem is Westerners. Especially Americans after World War II, just did not understand it as an art form. They saw the stylized nature, but they didn't know the story. And so Kabuki, instead of being common urban entertainment, sex and fart jokes, the word became performance, fake, impenetrable. Their relationship is a Kabuki theater. It's like a Kabuki, like putting on a Kabuki play. You can't understand it. It's very stylized. It might look good, but who knows what's going on there? You'll never really understand it. And so it's Americans after World War II, American servicemen who themselves don't have a lot of experience in the theater. American Marines and Air Force who are now stationed in Japan in the 50s. You know, these are conscript men from farms, from cities. These are not going to be your best educated, most culturally adept people. And so they're looking at something they don't understand. And so it gets this reputation in America of being something that is performance-based. It's not understandable. And that's where we are with Kabuki. The transformation from something that was ordinary to highly stylized. Something that was for everybody, becoming very gendered. And something that's accessible. These are folk stories. These are stories everybody knows when they sit and they go and watch it. To becoming a word that means impenetrable, unknowable. These are huge changes in cultures that we're seeing just in Kabuki. So, good luck. Be safe. I hope you're as impressed by that as I am. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.